Dear students, in this video we are going to see about computer system organization. Okay, before that, so as you all know, we are living in the age of electronic revolution where electronic devices like computers and smartphones have become an integral part of our lives. So the invention of computers has changed the way we work, right? So it has given birth to electronic consciousness amongst the common man. It has changed the working style of business organizations and people drastically. It has been put to use for all sorts of applications like business, research, medical treatment, education, public services, crime detection, etc. The invention of computer networks and internet has made the world a global community. So undoubtedly, it has become necessary for all of us to learn operating a computer, right? But before you learn to operate any machine, you need to have knowledge about it. This chapter aims to give you some basic knowledge about the computer and the various components that make it. So first we should know what is a computer, right? So computer is an electronic data processing device that can take in an output, that is data and instructions, store the input, process it to give the desired output. So what does this input do? It gives the data. What is meant by data? Data means numbers, text, images or sound, etc. It does not have any meaning. Okay, it will be stored in the main memory. Okay, and it will be taken from the main memory for the processing. Okay, so these data will be processing to convey any meaning. This data does not have any meaning. Okay, so after processing it will become the information. The processed data or meaningful data is called as information, right? So computer system is we will not call computer as a computer. It is a computer system. Why? It is not a single machine. It is a collection or integration of many devices which work in coordination to perform a particular task. Each device performs a particular task and is dependent on the other devices. Okay, it is a single machine but it is connected with so many devices. So okay, so as you all know, it has input. It has four components. What are they? Input, storage, processing and output. The data and instructions given to a computer to solve a problem or to perform an operation is called an input. Okay, so data and instructions will not have any meaning. For example, if a company is there, it's producing any product, it can be a car, it can be a bike, it can be anything. So they need raw materials for that first. Okay, so that we call it as input. The raw material does not have any meaning. That means data doesn't have any meaning. So it will be stored in some place, that is called main memory. So what is the storage? It stores data or information for processing. Okay, so then it will be taken to processing. The process of converting raw data into useful information by working out on the data as per given instructions is termed as the data processing. After processing, the processed information or the resulting information is the output. So again this output, the processed data, can also be saved for later use in the storage, that is called secondary memory. Main memory is called primary memory, and after getting the output we store in the storage, that is called as secondary memory. Okay, children, clear? Next we will see the characteristics of a computer. So what are the characteristics? So all computers, irrespective of their type, size and it has common characteristics like speed, reliability, high storage capacity and efficiency. Computers provide the processing speed required for facilitating its use in many ways. The quick service we expect at the bank, at the grocery store, at the stock exchange or on the internet is depend on the speed of the computer only. The computer system possesses the following characteristics. Let's see that. Accuracy. Okay, so we cannot say 100% accuracy. It is almost 100%. Why? Because the instructions are given by the human. Okay, so if a human can make error, through that we cannot say the result given by the computer is accurate. Okay, the input given may be error prone. Okay, that's why we cannot say computers are 100% accurate. Next is a high speed. So as you can measure the speed of the moving vehicle, you can also measure the speed of a computer. Okay, so like the computer's processing speed is very high. It can perform task in a few seconds than a normal person would take hours to complete. It can carry out thousands of simple mathematical operations in a matter of few seconds. Its speed is measured in nanoseconds, that is 1 billionth of a second. Okay, next is diligence. So if a man get tired, but the computer can continue to operate at almost the same level of speed and accuracy, carrying out the most complex tasks, yet not get tired. So if somebody is asking you to work for 5 hours, you will work in some speed. You will have enthusiasm. But they ask you to more 5 hours, you will get tired. Your working speed will get decreased. But computer will not get tired. It will work almost in the same level of speed and accuracy. That we call it as diligence. Next is memory. So the computer has the capability to store more information. It has many storage devices. As you know, I told you about main memory and secondary memory. Okay, so it is called memory. It stores, like we have so many devices. The inbuilt device which is inside the computer is hard disk, which stores all the information. If you have external devices like pen drives, CDs, DVDs, flash drives, and also main memory, RAM, ROM, all this. Okay, so all these are called as memory, which stores information. Next comes versatility. What is meant by versatile? So we can say one person is versatile because he can do all the work. So same way, computers can carry out tasks ranging from simple mathematical calculations to solving highly complex problems also. So that we call it as versatility. Next comes zero IQ. The computer is not an intelligent machine. It can only do those jobs that it is programmed to do. It will work only as per your instructions. It doesn't have any intelligence on its own. That's why we call it as zero IQ. Next we see applications of computer. So computers are applied in many different fields. Okay, there is an endless list of application areas of computer, but some major areas where computers are being extensively used are as follows here. First one is what? CAM. This computer aided manufacturing. So in modern industrial plants, most of the machinery and production are controlled and monitored by computers. They are also used for quality control and testing purposes. So for example, in car manufacturing, instrument panels of cars are connected to a computer for a complete check of all functions before the panel is sent for installation. Okay, next is computer aided designing. Not only manufacturing, it is useful in designing field also. It is used for engineering and architectural design. So computers are used to design tools, machine parts, and even entire machines. Architects use computers to show his clients as to how the building will look if built with different materials. Next, in the field of medicine, computers are being used for diagnosis of various diseases and for maintaining patients' database. Medical equipment such as CAT scan, magnetic resonance, imaging scan, like gamma radiation therapy machines are fully computer controlled. Computers are also used in operation theatres for better analysis during complicated surgeries. Right? Using internet medical transcription facility, we can consult specialized doctors across the world and get benefited from that. Medical research is today totally computer dependent, right? So next is weather research and meteorology. So supercomputers give their prediction about weather by analyzing satellite data. Right. So with the help of computers, meteorologists can analyze as to how the different parts of the earth are going to be affected in the coming centuries. Geologists can use the computer for the researches. Right. So next is computers in education. So with the advent of multimedia computers and related technologies, computer aided learning and computer based learning have become commonplace nowadays. So difficult and abstract topics are explained using the animation, graphic, sound and text elements which greatly enhances the understanding of the learner. Right, you must be you seeing that extra marks by Jews. So many facilities are available, so to explain the complex topics to graphic sounds, you would have heard all this, you would have seen all this videos and all these things. Now even presently we are using the computer based teaching, and you people are learning through computer aided learning. Like educational CD-ROMs are available nowadays on various subjects, okay, which provides you interactive lessons to the students. Right, use of computers and internet technologies has also supported the distance education system. So anybody can process any degree through online courses. Next is computers and scientific research, like fields like physics, chemistry, life sciences and medicine. So like NASA, ISRO, they're all their researches are possible only through computers, only due to computers. Next comes communication. So people can communicate through internet technologies across the globe. So with the help of email, chatting, video conferencing, social networking, teleconferencing, like instant communication is also possible from one part of the world to the other part. Next comes components of a computer system. Computer system consists of two main components. What are they? Hardware and software. The physical components of a computer system are termed as hardware, which you can feel and touch, like input devices, output devices, CPU, or examples of computer hardware. What is the software then? It is a set of programs that governs operations of a computer system and makes the hardware perform a desired task, which the programs cannot be felt or touched. Okay, so both are dependent together. Without software, hardware is nothing, and without hardware, software is nothing. Next comes main hardware components of a computer. So you know the four basic functions of computer. They are input, processing, output and storage, as we already discussed. Input means data and instructions given to the computer, and these data and instructions are processed, and this processed information is called as output, and these are all stored in the storage before processing and after processing. So these tasks can be performed with four main functional units. They are input unit, central processing unit, memory unit and output unit. Let's see one by one. First is input unit. It is used to give input data, to the computer, that is data and instructions to a computer. Next is central processing unit. It makes all sorts of calculations and comparisons on the data to convert it into the output. Okay, so next is memory unit. It is used to store data and instructions before and after processing. What does output unit do? It is used to provide the final results of processing to the outside world. So let's see central processing unit and its main parts in detail. The CPU works on the fetch, decode, execute cycle. Let's see what is this fetch, decode and execute. It first retrieves, that means it first retrieves or fetches a program instruction from the main memory. As I told you, before processing it should fetch the details, that is the input will be given, it will be stored in the main memory. From the main memory it should fetch the input, that is data or instructions. Then that will be decoded. What should be done to make it as a final information? So what action the instruction requires, and then carry out those actions. This cycle is repeated and repeated again and again, right from the boot up stage till the computer is shut down. It has many parts which helps it to work. So there are some important ones we will discuss right now. They are control unit, arithmetic logic unit, registers and buses. Let's see what is control unit. It is responsible for directing and coordinating most of the computer system activities. It controls the CPU processing. Next, arithmetic and logic unit. It performs all the arithmetic and logical functions and controls the speed of the calculations. Registers, what it will do? So inside the CPU also you have a temporary storage location. It is called registers. So where this will be transmitted, that means bits will be transmitted. As you all know, Computer consists of, computer understands only bits, that is binary digits 0 and 1. Okay, what does this bus do? It refers to the electronic pathway through which bits are transmitted between the various computer components. Okay, so now let's see the components of a computer first. So what happens? Input will be given through input unit, and then it will be going for the processing. First, after giving input, it will be going to the main memory. From main memory, it will be taken to the CPU's internal memory. Then it will go to ALU for the processing. It will be controlled. All these actions are controlled by control unit. After getting the output, it will be stored in the secondary storage. Understood what is the components of a computer? Next one is the processor structure. What is happening inside the processor? Okay, so as I told you, registers and buses. The most common ones, depending on the design of the system, several types of buses may be present. The most common ones are data bus, control bus, and address bus. Okay, so what are the three things it does? The data bus carries the data throughout the CPU. The wider the data bus, the more data it can carry at one time, and thus the greater the processing speed of the computer. The address bus carries the memory address of the data from one unit to another. The control bus controls the function of the data bus and the address bus. Hope you all are clear with the main hardware components of a computer system. Now let's see different types of computers. Okay, so the computers that we see being used everywhere around us are actually digital computers. So which we use presently are digital computers. They are used for process data that is in digital format, that is in the form of zeros and ones. The digital computers that are available nowadays vary in their sizes and capabilities and can be broadly classified into 4 categories: microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe computers, and supercomputers. Let's see one by one what are they. Okay, so now see the different types of computers. These are all supercomputers. These are mainframe computers. These are mini computers and microcomputers. Okay, let's see one by one in detail. First one is microcomputers, which are presently used. They are all digital computers. They are small, low cost, and single user digital computers. It consists of CPU, input, output, and storage unit, and the software installed on it. So the first one is desktop. Okay, next one is a laptop, then a tablet computer, and the smartphone. Okay, these are all microcomputers. Okay, so next we will see what are the mini computers. So they came into existence in 1960s. Okay, those days mainframe computers are very expensive. So users switched over to mini computers as it was powerful and less expensive than mainframe computers. Okay, so the mini computers have become less important since the PC, that is PC means what? Personal computer, they are microcomputers, has become so popular on its own. So mini computer has become less important that time. The present day PC, that is personal computers, is much more powerful and compact than old mini computers. These mini computers are normally referred to as mid-range servers right now. Next is mainframe computers. So the mainframe computers are multi-user, multi-programming and high-performance computers. So they are generally used in centralized databases like at banks, railway control rooms, telephone exchanges, etc. So why they are used over there? Because where the data coming from hundreds of branch offices has to be processed, and also many people require frequent access to the same data. So that's why these mainframe computers are used in those big organizations. Like every organization, big organization will maintain the servers like banks, railway control rooms, telephone servers. These mainframe computers are acting as a servers. So examples of this are CD6600 and IBM ES000 series of computers. They are all examples of mainframe computers. Next comes supercomputers. So these are the fastest and the most expensive machines. So they can perform trillions of calculations per second. They are built by interconnecting thousands of processors that can work together. They are used for highly calculation intensive tasks such as weather forecasting, climate research, nuclear research, etc. Examples of these supercomputers are IBM Roadrunner, IBM Blue Gene and Intel Esky Red. They are all the examples of supercomputers. Okay children, hope you all are clear with this concepts. In the next video we will see different types of input and output devices and how it works. Okay, hope you you are clear with all these concepts. Thank you children.